Earlier this week, I released a video about a Canadian local called FNS 190, focusing on Remrin, the best Mewtwo player in the world, and how she beat MkLeo. But what you may or may not remember from that video is that FNS 190 was a pre-local for a larger tournament. That tournament is named Super Elite Monthly Series 12 Forma de Leo Feat H-Box. Again, quite a mouthful. But MkLeo, as the name of the tournament would suggest, was indeed there. But this time, MkLeo entered the bracket with a vengeance. While FNS 190 had been the testing grounds for his Rob, Leo was all business now. And so today we'll be going over MkLeo's bracket at Super EMS 12, seeing how he did and getting a glimpse at all of his VODs. Because, just like FNS 190, every single set that Leo played at this tournament was put on stream. I mean, the tourney was named after him, so I guess that's to be expected. Just a reminder before we begin that if you want to support me monetarily, you can do so by using links to my Patreon or channel memberships in the description below. With that out of the way, let's get right into it. MkLeo came into Super EMS 12 as the clear-cut first seed. Leo's first set would be against Zelda main Aerolith. Game 1 proved to be a solid win for MkLeo, mid-percent 2-stocking Aerolith. Game 2 would be surprisingly closer, with it going down to last stock. But with Aerolith at a massive percent deficit, the Zelda main wasn't able to take the game, and MkLeo won the set 2-0. Moving on in bracket. Next up was Lil Zaku, a Steve main. Or, I guess a skeleton main based off of the stream setups mods. Speaking of which, MkLeo donned a modded skin for Joker that bears the color scheme of the Mexican flag for pretty much the entire tournament, and I actually quite like the look of it. But back to the set, MkLeo would low percent 2-stock Lil Zaku in Game 1. But the skeleton main showed quite a bit of adaptation in Game 2, actually bringing it to not just last stock, but last hit. Ultimately though, MkLeo clutched out that last hit scenario, defeating Lil Zaku 2-0. This match is actually pretty interesting in the grand scheme of the tournament, as Lil Zaku was clearly a skilled player, and MkLeo fighting a skilled Steve could have served as a warm-up in the matchup against a much stronger player that Leo would face down the road. But either way, for right now, Leo had one more set to win in order to make it out of pools. That set being versus his old rival and least favorite character to fight in the game, Min Min, piloted by Day. Game 1 did not go well for Day, as MkLeo got a 3-stock, staying below 60% the whole time. And while Game 2 would go better, with MkLeo losing a stock, it still resulted in a Leo victory. However, as the sets were now BO5, we have at least one more game to play. In that critical Game 3, MkLeo would get an extremely early gun edgeguard on Day, winning the set in a 3-0 sweep and advancing from pools and into top 24 on winner's side. Here, MkLeo would have to face off against someone we covered in our FNS 190 video, the Diddy Kong main, Z. Leo had defeated Z 3-1 back at that tournament, and now went against Z again in winners quarterfinals, the top 8 qualifier. And I mean, Leo has Tweak on his team and has fought him so many times. Surely MkLeo sweeps Z here, right? Well, that's where you'd actually be wrong. In fact, the set does not start well for Leo at all. With a last hit spike kill in Game 1, Z went up in the set. Then in Game 2, Z gets this insane string on MkLeo and spikes him at 60, going up 2-0 in the set. Leo now had the potential to get 3-0'd and sent into losers before top 8 even started. Not only that, this was Z's home turf. The crowd was behind Z through and through, and they were very vocal in their support. But MkLeo managed to win Game 3 solidly with a decent lead, getting snowballed into a victory. And here it is, the legend, Game 4 Leo. An insane angle off of down air into an F smash killed Z at 90 and allowed Leo to get a solid lead in Game 4. Which Leo would then snowball yet again into another victory, bringing the set to a decisive Game 5. The crowd was insane. Goku himself arrives to show his support. Hungrybox threatened to take his shirt off.
Actually, right now after that spirit bomb, I'm gonna take my shirt off. It'd be fucking crazy.
Total anarchy, as you can see. But in this crucial Game 5, MkLeo defeated Z fairly dominantly, completing the reverse 3-0 and defeating Z 3-2, moving into winner's side top 8. MkLeo now sat in winner's semifinals and now had to go up versus a very strong opponent, Soar. Like we teased earlier, Soar is a Steve main, likely the best one in Canada, and is also the brother of Supergirl Kells, with the two of them even winning doubles at this tournament. As the set started between Leo and Soar, it was clear that this was going to be a very volatile set, with Soar dying before reaching 100% for both of the first two stocks, but still managing to keep it even with Leo thanks to Steve's oppressive nature. Leo eventually would take game 1 last stock, but in the very next game, Soar would respond to that by winning game 2, tying the set at 1-1. And while game 3 was mostly even, Soar would get an extremely early block edge guard on Leo at 62%, going up 2-1 versus the GOAT. So now Leo is down 2-1, and at this point in the set, he makes a very interesting decision. He swaps to Rob. While Leo's Rob had only seen sparse usage like FNS 190 and La Posada del Huachiqui, Leo finally seemed like he was comfortable bringing it out at larger tournaments and using it against higher leveled players. But to be honest, the MkLeo Rob did not start off well. Soar had a dominant second stock over Leo that ended up giving him nearly a full stock lead. Many people in the chat were already preparing for the GOAT to lose here and be sent into losers early. But then, at nearly 140%, MkLeo found an early down air spike on Soar, barely managing the comeback and bringing us to a decisive Game 5. That Game 5 would be fought on Final Destination, with Leo staying Rob. And once again, MkLeo went down in stocks pretty early on in the match. But little by little, he clawed his way back, and in the end, MkLeo defeated Soar in that critical Game 5, winning the set 3-2 in total and moving on into winners finals. Here, we actually have yet another surprise player who we talked about in the Remrin video. It's Babino, the Ike main, who had just gotten 2 wins on Armadillo and Remrin back-to-back in order to make it here in winners finals. Babino is low-key making a case for the best Ike in NA if wins like these keep coming in. But that's a discussion for another day. As the set started, Babino was able to take MkLeo to last stock, but Leo won the game in the end. But the fact that it went last stock means that we're gonna have a close banger set, right? Well, no. Listen, Babino is really good and really cool, but the rest of the set was just not close at all. MkLeo went on to 3-stock Babino in Game 2 and the final game of the set, Game 3, winning the set in a 3-0 more dominant than some of his pools matches. And while you may have expected Babino to be the one to make it back into Grands, this actually wouldn't be the case. Instead, that spot belonged to Armadillo. After having lost to Babino in winners quarterfinals, Armadillo had made top 8 through loser's side and had tore through it, defeating Roy main Smock 3-0, Soar the Steve 3-1, before moving on and also defeating Cake the Duck Hunt main in a Game 5 set, and lastly winning the runback versus Babino in a 3-0 victory to head up into grand finals. Armadillo and MkLeo would have played in semis if not for Babino's upset, but now they finally got their chance to play in grand finals of Super EMS 12. MkLeo would actually start the first set of Grands as Rob, but ended up losing Game 1 and Game 2 with his Rob, going down 0-2 in Grands. Game 3 saw MkLeo swap over to Joker, but even this didn't help much, as unfortunate timing with Arsene disappearing allowed Armadillo to defeat MkLeo, winning the first set of Grands in a 3-0 sweep. But the Joker game had been closer than the Rob game, so MkLeo would stick to Joker headed into the reset. He managed to win Game 1, with Armadillo reaching near 200%, which must have been terrifying. Keeping that pattern up, Game 2 ended up going last stock, last hit, but it was Leo who clutched out in the end to go up 2-0 in the set, a reversal of what Armadillo had previously done. But Game 3 let Armadillo get their name on the board, winning the game versus Leo narrowly and bringing the set to a Game 4. And that Game 4 would head to last stock, with plenty of aura on Armadillo on FD with its small blast zones. But Leo correctly punished a sloppy recovery with fair 1 drag down smash to defeat Armadillo 3-1 in the Grands reset, eliminating Armadillo at second place and with MkLeo becoming your champion of Super EMS 12 as the first seed, only dropping a set to Armadillo in Grands. You know, if I had a nickel for every time MkLeo lost in Grands of a Canadian tournament and then won the reset in 2024, I'd have 2 nickels, which sadly is not nearly enough for me to afford a gumball. But MkLeo had made the trip up to the Great North and had defeated some of their best players, and took both of the tournaments that he entered. MkLeo seems to really be taking this year's competition seriously after missing top 10 on the official rankings for the first time since Smash 4. Joker main, Rob secondary. To me, it seems like a pretty solid lineup, and MkLeo is looking more solid than he did in perhaps all of last year. Let's hope that these 2 Canadian tournaments are an omen for the year to come. That's going to be it for today's video. Before I go, shout out to my patrons Seth Laster, Frostco333, Logan S, Persipalm, Wawa, Mr. Sinister, and my Twitter patrons Iltis and Diamond Blaze. Additionally, shout out my YouTube members Stormtrooper, Lukosoko, Diarrhea, DJ Jr., Defective, Fan of, Boston R, Iltis, and my Twitter members Mike G and Wu-Tang Forever. Lastly, extra special thanks to my tier 3 patrons Ocean Man, who says RisterMice is sorry for playing Min Min, and MistyBot, who says, in my opinion, Me Gunner is high tier. If you want to support me using any of these methods, links are in the description below. Don't miss tomorrow's upload, but until then, I've been RisterMice, and thank you all so very much for watching.